reactions. What's the topic today? Look, you never know. It's DeeDee's reactions, real life reviews with a real one for sure.
What up, YouTube? It's your girl DeeDee. Welcome back to the channel. So I'm back with another video for you guys. So I want to talk about why most relationships fail, even when women have good men. Let's talk about it.
Oh my God.
So there are a lot of women out here who are complaining about men in relationships, as we see on a daily basis. Like everywhere you look, every time you turn on social media, you hear women complaining about men, how men got to level up, how men are not doing this, how they're not doing that, how the dating pool has pee in it and it's just trash. But it's all related to the issues of men. A lot of women who are complaining about dating and relationships are not attributing any of the issues to themselves. A lot of women know that they have issues, know that they have unresolved issues when it comes to themselves, still fail to recognize that they play a major part in why the dating pool is what it is. But they will continue to not take any accountability and just constantly blame it on all the men, which yields no result because women don't want to make any changes. They don't want to make any adjustments or do anything that would hold them responsible for their actions, and partly why they are single and why their relationships fail. And I think the main reason why a lot of relationships fail, especially in this day and age, is because we have a lot of women who are considered modern women and women who hate to accept accountability and do anything that would help the relationship thrive. Now, I will say I'm not saying that all women are this way, and I'm not saying all men are this way, but there are a group of individuals who don't know what it takes to get and maintain a healthy relationship. And they've adopted these ideas and these, rules that society has set for them, which is causing them to fail. Because a lot of the rhetoric that we hear when it comes to relationships is basically coming from other single individuals, people who have not really been in healthy, stable marriages or relationships. So they've created this idea of what they think and feel a relationship should be based on, solely putting all of the pressure and focus on what a man is supposed to do to make the relationship work. And there's this idea that in order for the relationship to work, that men have to do all the work and women should just be the receivers of what men are giving them. And that is how you keep a relationship. But what that is doing is taking a toll on the men out here. It's causing them to push back because they're realizing that there is not really much expectations when it comes to women, that women are not looked at as the individuals who have to be a part of the relationship. And when I say that, I mean as to what they contribute to the relationship. What do they bring to the table? There's this assumption that as women, we are the table, and because we have vaginas and we're women, that we don't have to contribute anything to a relationship, which is causing all of the pressure to be put on men. And men are now frankly tired of that rhetoric. Men are pushing back and saying, hey, if we're expected to work hard, bring all of the finances, do X, Y, Z, we are looking for something in return, which that is what a relationship is, give and take. It takes two individuals to make a relationship work, not just one. So while men are realizing that women are expecting all of these unrealistic things from them and putting all of the pressure on them to make the relationship work, while they're just sitting back, just expecting everything to be given to them without giving anything in return, and then still complaining as to why they can't find Mr. Right, why they can't find their kings, not realizing that they are very much contributing to the very problems that they're facing when it comes to dating and marriage. We have a major divide between women and men, and we've had that for quite some time now, but no one is looking to, do anything to make it better, because everyone is in their own world. One side is looking and expecting certain things. The other side is looking and expecting certain things. And we have people who don't want to budge, people who will not settle. And for as long as I can remember, I've been hearing women say that they're not going to settle, that they will not settle, that they should not settle. They know their worth, they know their value, but not expecting that men would have a worth and value as well. They don't look at men in the same way as they see themselves. They think that they're the top of the crop and that they're just everything and a man should be lucky to have them, but they don't feel that they should be lucky to have him. And it goes back to the idea of women being the prize and men are just supposed to be there to fund that prize and take care of them. And that's it, without expecting anything in return. No love, no, nothing reciprocated to them, because as men are looked at as the providers and the protectors and everything that women can gain from. And I think that's come to a head. That's the idea that women have had for the longest. But now men are turning the page. They're turning the page. They are no longer sitting back just expecting to just give women everything without getting anything. And a lot of the things that men are asking for are the very things that women don't want to do. And honestly, I think that what men are asking for is very simple. Look, can you cook? Can you clean? I want a clean environment. I want, a nice meal on the table. Can you be loving, cooperative, sensitive to my needs and wanting to work with me as a relationship should be? The things that men are asking for is being met with hesitation, but everything that women want is being congratulated and pushed because somehow women just think that they're supposed to just take from a man and he shouldn't expect anything in return. And I think that is an old, antiquated idea. And a lot of these modern women don't want to accept that. So they would rather be by themselves than be with a man who is just wanting consideration and cooperation with a woman. The very things that you should have in a relationship. So this is why I say a lot of women actually are failing when it comes to relationships because of their own stubbornness, their own selfishness. They don't feel and believe that they should give anything to a man. Anytime you ask a woman, hey, what are you willing to give to a man or offer to the relationship? What do you bring to the table? I am the table. You know what I mean? And that table is bare. It's empty. It has nothing on it. And so men are looking at this saying, hey, is this what I really want? Is this acceptable? Because I have standards too. The men are saying, hey, I know my worth as well. And if you're expecting all of these things from me, then I should be expecting something from you too. This is should not be a one-sided deal, that this is a relationship. This is not, I just pay for you and I just sit back and get nothing. No, a relationship involves two people. And then on top of that, you hear women talk about they want a partner. Well, partners both put in money. In partnerships, that means both of you bring something to the table so that you can build and grow and you both benefit from it. In a partnership, one doesn't put all the money and the other one just sit back and watch the growth. No, you both have to put in. That's the whole point of the partnership. I think the onus is on the women, in my opinion, and I'm gonna keep saying it because I believe that. I think men are not without their faults, but I think at this day and age, because women have been coddled and have been, living under this idea for so long, it's finally changing because now the women have changed. We're no longer in a traditional society. We're in a modern society, and modern women let you know how modern they are because they can work, they have bank accounts, they can get to the bag, and they're boasting about it, but they still want men to be traditional and take on traditional roles. And I think that is where the issue lies. So it would be on the women to change that mentality and accept and understand that we're no longer in traditional times. This is a modern era. And because you all can work and you can do for yourself, you're going to have to bring something to the table. You can no longer just sit back like a fat rat and just expect everything from a man when you are able-bodied and you're able to contribute. That's just what it is. And so, I think it's a rude awakening for a lot of women because this is not something that they want. They're used to the dynamics being a certain way. And now that they're changing and that men are, accustomed to their changes, men are moving a certain way. And women are a little bit shocked by it because they're used to men catering to them. And now that men are saying, no, hey, I don't mind catering to you, but if you have to be my woman and you have to bring something to the table as well. I'm not your sugar daddy. I'm not your man on the side. I'm not your situationship. If you want a relationship, then you're going to have to bring something to the table. I'm not going to just sit here, and just, cater to you and run behind you. No, because men, they know their worth and they know that's not something that they have to do. And the same way women say, hey, I'm not going to settle. I can do bad by myself. Men are saying the same thing but men can actually do good by themselves because when they take on a relationship and a family, They actually have to spend more. It costs them more to have a woman. So if they're by themselves, it will cost them a lot less, and they can live pretty good by themselves. So you got to think about it. This is why I believe that women are not the prize in the way that they think. And they hate to accept that the very men that they're after, they hate to accept that those men just may be the prize, because you are looking for certain expectations and things from him that most women don't have themselves. And so I think together you are even a bigger prize, in my opinion. I think together, building a life together is really the ultimate prize. But if you're stuck in your own way and thinking that it's all about you, that's going to be difficult to maintain, or difficult for anyone to accept, because they know their worth and they believe that they're the prize as well. And it's not sassy for a man to know his worth and know that he's the prize, because a lot of women are after him. Men of quality have women after them. Women are looking for these men. So if you have a bunch of women who are in search of a certain type of man, a certain caliber of man, and these men are out there, then they would essentially be the prize, because they are what most women are looking for. So I just think that it's on women to do the most changes. It's for you to start to change your mentality and think about relationships. Think about the two of you together. Think about it as a unit, not individuals, but to come together and build something together. And if you can find a man who's open to that and interested in you, and vice versa, then I think that's something you should consider, and stop thinking about me. Oh, what can he do for me? It's all about me. My wants and everything that I need, and you're not considering him. Those days are over. Most men aren't looking to, be your sugar daddy and just be your sponsor and take care of you. They want something too. They want a life. Nobody wants to live this life full of stress. You want a companion. You want somebody that you can, experience love and life with. It shouldn't be all about money and who makes more and who makes this. All of that just gets in the way of what's important. And so if any advice that I could give to anybody is to focus on the person and who they are. Are they loving? Do they care about you? Do y'all have the same goals? That should be the things that you should be asking for and looking for first and foremost. And then the money and all that stuff will fall into place. I'm not saying you should go out here and look for a bum, a man who doesn't have anything, but that shouldn't be at the forefront of what you're looking for when it comes to companionship. You should be looking for somebody who have the core values and y'all have the common goals in mind and the things that you want. And then you go from there. Because most couples and most relationships, most people don't have all this money. Most people aren't rich. People are struggling in this economy. And usually both parties have to work. Usually both the wife and the husband is working. And they're working together to take care of their families. That's typically how it goes. So it's not anything that's unusual. It's not usual to have both parties working. And then in some cases, there are men who decide, hey, I want to have my wife to be at home, to be a stay-at-home wife. So I'm going to prepare for that and do what I need to do to make sure that I can have that. Some men will prefer that, but the majority of people in this country have to work, both husband and wives, and they have to, you need two incomes to live and thrive in this economy. So that's not unusual. That's not an unusual ask. But I think for some reason, there are a lot of women have been looking at social media and looking at these stories and these TV shows and all this stuff, and they're thinking that this is something, or somebody has hyped them up to make them believe that this is what they should be asking for, and that this is somehow a reasonable ask to want a man who's rich to come and give you this soft girl life. That is not that, to me, that's unrealistic, because that's not the norm. Most people don't have that. And so that means you have to reevaluate what you want and what's most important. And if you don't have to do it, but this is why you find a lot of these women who think this way are typically single, and they're having a hard time finding men who want to be in relationships with them, and are keeping a man, and are getting a man to commit to them and only want to be with them, because a lot of these men realize that this is a superficial situation, and that it's not something that they can maintain, nor do they want to. And then they end up walking away, or the women end up walking away because they realize he's not willing to do what she's asking. And a lot of these women think that it's normal, but it's really not. Overall, I do think that women ruin relationships in mass because their expectations are too unrealistic. What you're asking for from these men is unrealistic. And a lot of these women aren't willing to really work with these men and build. They're looking for it, all of it, at the door. They're looking for you to have it all together at the door, and they want you to just give it. They want you to give everything to them. And it's just not realistic, because typically the men who have all of that you're looking for, they're not just looking to be with just one woman. So either you're going to be willing to share him, or find a man that you can grow and build with, who's going to be monogamous and you know what I'm saying, faithful to just you, and be okay with being with just you. Because other than that, you're going to run into other issues that you really don't want. And, you know, you're just going to end up with nothing. So that's my thoughts on relationships, and why I think a lot of women fail in relationships, because their standards are too unrealistic. That's just what it is. There are a lot of men who will compromise with certain women, but these women don't want to compromise with them. And that's the problem. But listen, I want to know your thoughts on this particular topic. Comment, like, subscribe, share the video, all that good stuff. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.